Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you I don't know, my name is Carrie Wiggum, and I'm one of the co-directors of the Institute for Genocide and Mass Atrocity Prevention. I want to begin by acknowledging that Binghamton University is on the ancestral land of the Onondaga Nation. And that's especially important to recognize right now because we're in the midst of the Haudenosaunee Festival here at Binghamton University. The Onondaga are one of 6 nations that are part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And starting today the festival started today, and there will be events all day tomorrow and Saturday. So I very much encourage you to take part in the festival. I also want to extend a special thanks to our partners and colleagues at the Q Center and the Multicultural Resource Center for their co-sponsorship of this event. And also to let you know that the next event that IGMAP will be hosting will be on October 29th, just under 2 weeks from today, right here at the same time, where we'll be welcoming Nemanja Nestorovic and Milija Rajcevic, 2 peace builders from Community Building Mitrovica, a small peace building organization in Kosovo. So we encourage you to come and join us for those. But for now, I'm so excited and honored to be able to welcome my friend and colleague, Shadi Amin, who's going to be speaking to us today. We've been so lucky to have Shadi as a resident practitioner this semester, and she's staying with us throughout the fall semester, doing her own work, but also just really giving of herself to our students and our faculty and our campus community. And we are so honored to have her as part of the IGMAT family. Shadi Amin is a pioneering and influential Iranian LGBTQ+ activist, the coordinator of Iranian Lesbian and Transgender Network, or SixRong. SixRong is a community dedicated to serving LGBTI Iranians, whereby Shadi seeks to raise awareness about human rights violations on grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. Shadi is also a leading writer and researcher in her field and has authored and co-authored numerous authoritative books and articles. In 2010, Shadi led Iranian members of the lesbian and transgender communities in creating SixRong Network, which offers peer support and raises awareness in the larger society. Shadi has also taken the initiative to set up an alternative counseling e-system, which methodically informs, educates, supports, and assists LGBTI Iranians. Through this effort, she's changing the status quo and creating opportunities for a better life for thousands of Iranian LGBTI persons at the grassroots level under the Islamic Republic regime in Iran, a government intent on denying LGBTI individuals' very existence. Shadi works with UN mechanisms such as treaty bodies, special rapporteur, and universal periodic reviews to defend the rights of LGBTI+ people in one of the most stigmatized regions in the world. And we're so excited to have her speaking today with a really, I love the name, the Ugly Duckling, a lesbian from an Islamic state living in exile. So please join me in welcoming Shadi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I am a little bit nervous. This is normal water, it's no vodka. But I want to thank you all for coming here tonight. So also I want to thank some people among you who I met here for the first time in Binghamton University. And I am very thankful that they are here tonight. Dara, who maybe some of you knows, Deborah, Senada, and Nicole, who have worked all the day today. I know maybe some of you are, your Lawrence too. Sorry. And I'm very thankful that you are here tonight. And I hope that after my talk, we can have your comments. After that, I want to thank you, Kerry. What I learned how to spell his name is Regan, and I said always welcome. I'm thankful, Kerry, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here as a resident practitioner. I would also like to
just put the microphone up a little bit.
A little bit.
Yep. Perfect.
Better?
Yep.
I would also like to thank them, as well as the Queer Center and MRC, for organizing this event. We all understand that where we are born and who our parents are simply an accident. I am Shadi Amin. So, and quite by accident, I come from Iran. How many of you know where Iran is? Okay. Still more than last week by Say Game place. Only, I think, 10 people knew where Iran is. But I will not be angry because I didn't know where Binghamton is before I got the email from the university. So Iran is in West Asia. We are in West Asia. In other classifications, the Middle East, which is rich in oil and other resources. This word has not brought us luck. Instead, it has become a point of conflict in the world. You see that? We have Saudi Arabia here, Iraq, Syria, all of these countries, you know from the news what the American politic is about them, Afghanistan, and in the north side, Russia. Yeah, Iran is my homeland, a country once viewed as modern and progressive, led by a monarch. However, the reality exposed a lack of political freedom, freedom of expression, and freedom of assembly, along with an unjust economic situation, which sparked widespread protests and strikes against the Shah in 1979. During the revolution of 1979, the people of Iran were under the illusion that Iran would become a democracy. There was a brief time when we could exercise our freedom of expression through demonstrations and discussions in the streets, schools, and universities. However, they quickly changed, resulting in the establishment of the Islamic regime in Iran, which drastically affected the lives of millions within the country and beyond in the region. People's illusions began to shatter soon after the Shah's regime was overthrown, as the Islamists took the power by suppressing all other forces that had participated in the revolution, from leftist and communist organizations to even religious nationalists. The first warning sign was the imposition of compulsory hijab on women, requiring them to cover their bodies and hair in public. They then enacted a new penal code based on Islamic rules, Sharia law, prescribing the death penalty for various private acts, from drinking alcohol to extramarital relations, and most importantly for a person like me, same-sex conduct. Before the revolution, during the Shah's era, same-sex conduct was also a crime punishable by 3 to 10 years imprisonment. I was a teenager when the revolution happened, deeply involved and, like millions of others, filled with hope. I was 8 or 9 years old when I fell in love with a girl. At that time, there was no public information about sexuality or sexual orientation. I thought I was the only person in the world born this way. I was terrified that no one would discover my secret. Can you imagine the fear surrounding me, even in my bed and in my dreams, when I realized that I am attracted to the same sex? After the revolution, that scary secret could cost me my life. I learned that I could be executed for my love. At the same time, I found out that homosexuality was defined as a psychological illness. In that moment, I felt completely lost. I thought I was sick. I felt like a boy mistakenly placed in a girl's body. I was different. I was neither a perfect boy nor a perfect girl. But I had a dream to change my body so I could experience my love and share my life with a girl. Until that could happen, I pictured myself as an ugly duckling. You know this fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen about a young duckling who is teased and rejected for being different from the other ducklings? After going through hardship and loneliness, she grows into a beautiful swan, realizing her true identity. The story highlights themes of transformation, resilience, and inner beauty. And I tried to hold on this analogy for so long. Yeah, that's me. And that's me. But I'm really happy. I was in love with a girl who took the picture at that time. So you see how lovely it can be, even in that situation, to be in love with somebody. I realized that there were girls in our school who were attracted to me. I felt sorry for them. From my perspective, they were normal. I was the wrong person leading them to begin a sin by having an emotional relationship with a girl. They were very beautiful and feminine, while I saw myself as a somewhat more masculine girl. Again, a sign that I was the ugly duckling in this world. During the early years after the revolution, I remained politically active and romantically involved with a girl. My activities with a leftist opposition organization were not hidden from the security forces' eyes in Iran. After I was arrested on the street and managed to flee successfully, I had to leave the country, my family, my friends, and especially my girlfriend. Before I turn to the next chapter of my life, let's first take a look at the existing laws on same-sex relations in Iran. Regarding consensual same-sex sexual intercourses between men, known as levat or sodomy, the Islamic Penal Code imposes the death penalty, although it treats the active, I use the wording in the book, the active and passive, the Islamic Penal Code imposes the death penalty, although it treats the active and passive parties differently. The active partner will be sentenced to death and executed if he is either married or if he is non-Muslim who has engaged in intercourse with a Muslim passive partner. The passive partner, however, is punishable by death regardless of his marital status or religion. I think you can imagine why it is in this case. So the man who is passive is going to play the role of women. This is more a scene for the heteronormative man society to break the role of a man and play the role of a woman in a relationship, sexual relationship. It doesn't matter if it's same sex or not. So the active person will only be dead, will be executed when he is not non-Muslim. It means a non-Muslim made a Muslim man to a woman. Then we have to kill him. But when it happens with a Muslim man, it shouldn't be. It means when you are active in a consensual same sex and they find out, if you are not Muslim, you will be executed without any even other reasons. But if you are Muslim, it depends on your marital situation and your religion. And if you are not married, this is easier to come out without execution, but there are still other punishments for that. Homosexual acts between men that do not constitute sexual intercourse are also punishable by up to 100 lashes. For sexual acts between women, both the passive and active parties, I mean, they don't say passive or active, I think they think both of them are passive. So there is no active person in women's sexuality. For sexual acts between women, both the passive and active parties face the same punishment, 100 lashes for the first 3 offenses, and up until the 4th offense, they will be executed. The critical fact that the death penalty for lesbian sexual relations exists is often overlooked in statements. Other same-sex acts that are criminalized, which apply to both men and women, include same-sex kissing or touching as a result of lust, punishable by flogging. These penalties are also applied to children under the age of 18, as the age of criminal responsibility in Iran is 9 years for the girls and 15 years for the boys. Now let's return to the early years of my life in exile. After enduring my many difficulties to reach a safe country, Germany by chance, I began connecting with people from our political organization to continue my activities against the Islamic regime. However, after a few years, I realized that they followed the same rules when it comes to maintaining the dynamics between men and women. While they were very progressive on other issues, ultimately, it was a hetero-male-dominated organization. I then started working with the feminist movement, hoping to find my companions. Although I have been disappointed in various ways by the feminist approach to LGBTIQ rights, the feminist movement has long been a safe space where I could work and empower myself and other women. In 1997, I gave my first public speech at an Iranian diaspora event about homosexuality in Berlin. And the title was Homosexuality and Iranian Approach. Broadcasting this event on a local TV channel was like an earthquake in the Iranian exile community. The TV station received a wave of negative feedback. Every Iranian was active. At that time was fax. They faxed 7 pages, 2 pages, 4 pages. Everybody had really motivation to write about the issue and send it to the station, TV station. The TV station received a wave of negative feedback, including comments like, "Why did you broadcast this event during hours when children are still awake?" Or, "These immoral individuals should be locked up, not on TV." I was also personally attacked by an Iranian man in metro station. That was the beginning of my journey through hate speech and the immense responsibility of changing the discourse in cultural and political fields. In 2010, after a series of articles and online attacks against me, I realized that I couldn't combat such attacks alone. We need to be organized and support each other. That's why I invited about 20 lesbian and transgender individuals to a meeting near Frankfurt. And established our network, the Iranian Lesbian and Transgender Network, SIXRANG. SIXRANG means 6 colors, named after the colors in the rainbow flag. Our goal was to raise awareness within the Iranian community, challenge the widespread homophobia, and ensure our presence in mainstream Exile media outlets to influence the cultural approach in Iranian society. We have pushed the media to give us platforms, and while it's still far from equal participation, it's much better than before. So we will be invited for talk shows. They ask us for comments when it happens something important in Iran. But when they receive a lot of negative homophobic feedbacks, they make a big break, 3, 4, 5 months. They wouldn't invite anybody from the community or speak about that. So they need a rest always for a long period of time. So, but still we are in it. And we could, last year, we could product 12 life stories about a successful Iranian LGBTs who could fight with all difficulties and achieve their wishes or their dreams. So we try to picture that, to show that it is not always about the people they have lost and they have nothing and they couldn't be successful. It is about people who can, after a lot of violence they experience, they can try and fight again and again. So we wanted to make hope in the Iranian LGBTI community, to say it's not the end of the story. You can, and we are with you. So we could produce these 12 stories, which one, everyone was 12 minutes, and it was broadcasted from one of the most watched TV channels in Iran. So 3 times every week, and all the 12 stories. And it was very, very successful project we had, and I'm very happy about that. So this is how we could come in the mainstream media, and the people in Iran can, without deciding to go on our website or YouTube channel, they would not do that, but they see accidentally the discussion about the life of a lesbian, gay, transgender, and we try to be very careful about the balance and that we have trans people, we have trans men, trans women, we have bisexuals, gay, and women, and yeah, we could make it. So, as an activist in exile, being far away from your country leads you to think how to maintain a connection, remain relevant, and be effective in serving the community to which you belong. So this question is not only ours as Iranian, but it's shared by many others from countries such as Russia, Afghanistan, China, and Syria. Here's our strategy. We have supported young Iranian LGBTIQ members through the establishment of an online counseling center that provides professional, psychological, and legal consultation. We have also created an underground network of over 100 individuals, activists. They are the vital cells of our network, enabling us to conduct several research projects in Iran. Some of the subjects we have worked on include forced sex change and conversion therapies, violence against LGBTIQ individuals, and gender persecution of LGBTIQ people during protests. The findings from our research have been used for UN advocacy. I should mention that any advocacy of the human rights of LGBTI individuals has also been criminalized in Iran. The most recent example is the death penalty issued for 2 lesbian activists in 2022 who were charged with propaganda for homosexuality. Thanks to a widespread international campaign, the death sentences were dropped in 2023. Such criminalization extends to UN advocacy and any relations with international human rights organizations. As a result, activists in Iran cannot engage with UN mechanisms, which is why our role as exiled activists becomes critical. Over the past 10 years, CICSANG has engaged with nearly every UN human rights mechanism relevant to our cause. I need to work. Thank you. Yeah. So, over the past 10 years, CICSANG has engaged with nearly every UN human rights mechanisms relevant to our cause, from the Universal Periodic Review, UPR, and special rapporteurs to treaty bodies such as the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Most recently, we have engaged with the UN fact-finding mission on Iran. Our submissions and follow-up advocacy have amplified the voices and issues of the LGBTI community in Iran, which would otherwise be completely ignored. A recent example is the report by the UN Special Rapporteur on Cultural Rights, published just 3 days ago, which highlighted the practice of mandatory sex tests in Iran that led to the expulsion of many female athletes on the grounds of gender ambiguity and suspicion of same-sex desires, citing CICSANG submissions. The committee has, the special rapporteur has used the submissions we sent for them, and it was after we interviewed a lot of athletes who were lesbian or trans, or they didn't know about their sexual orientation. They were questioning, but their behavior was for the authorities suspicion of same-sex desires, which some of the women decided not to continue to go for the sport before they try to search in their life, and it comes out something that can be dangerous for them. Our advocacy has also paved the way for LGBTI communities or organizations from other countries. For instance, in 2019, during the review by the UN Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disability, we addressed LGBTQ issues in intersection with disability for the first time, relating to electroshock therapy and other conversion therapies, as well as forced sex change that effectively render LGBTQ individuals disabled. The committee holds the Iranian government accountable in its concluding observations. Subsequently, the International Lesbian and Gay Association, ILGA, incorporated this framework into their training, which was used by others in their engagement with the committee. I could continue to detail our long but very successful journey, but unfortunately the time is limited, so I would like to highlight a few challenges we have faced. One challenge often faced in academic settings in the West is the tendency to downplay the impact of laws that criminalize same-sex relations. Critics challenge our campaigns by saying, yes, death penalty exists in the law, but how many executions have there actually been for consensual same-sex conduct over the years? They are correct. We often cannot provide an accurate number. The Iranian judiciary system is not transparent, and we lack exact statistics on this issue. The same problem exists with conversion therapies. We have no data on how many children undergo these inhuman treatment methods, such as electroshock therapy, and remain on psychotropic medications for their entire life in an attempt to be cured of their same-sex desires. Additionally, we do not have accurate statistics on how many individuals from our community die by suicide or are killed by male family members solely because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. However, we know of dozens of individuals who have lost their lives in various ways due to hate-motivated crimes. Thanks to social media and information received through our underground network in Iran, we have learned some of their names and seen their pictures. Yet, the lack of queer inclusive UN treaty bodies and an appropriate international criminal law framework has prevented us from achieving justice for them. One example is the report published in March by the UN fact-finding mission on Iran, with which we have closely collaborated since its establishment in 2022, following the brutal crackdown on the Women's Life Freedom Uprising in Iran. The report addressed the fact that protesters have been subjected to aggravated violence, including rape and sexual abuse, after being arrested due to their real or perceived sexual orientation and gender identity. This is a textbook definition of persecution. However, the fact-finding mission has only recognized gender persecution of protesters on the grounds of ethnicity and gender, but not sexual orientation and gender identity. Therefore, crimes against LGBTI protesters in Iran cannot be prosecuted in an international court, even if such a court exists. This is a global issue, a similar pattern adopted by the UN fact-finding mission on Myanmar when the genocide against trans men was not recognized in 2018, I think. When we say forcing a group of people to disappear from society is a crime against humanity, we must understand the extent of the crime and violence that LGBTQ individuals endure. Should I go back? Sorry. We must, when we say that forcing a group of people to disappear from society is a crime against humanity, we must understand the extent of the crime and violence that LGBT individuals endure under the continual fear of punishment, of execution. Each of us can play a role in challenging this approach. We must be aware of systems that resist change and uphold discrimination. Hate speech in the age of social media is not just a local issue. It is a global concern that affects all our lives. Now we are here. We have achieved a lot, but there's still much to be done. None of the international conventions mention sexual orientation or gender identity as grounds for discrimination or crimes against humanity. Furthermore, all victims of genocide and other mass atrocities lack recognition of their sexual orientation and gender identity. It is time to take action to change this. We have ideas for how to proceed. We can achieve our goals only together. We deserve a better life all around the world. Thank you very much for listening to me. Merci. And if there's any questions, I will be more than glad to answer them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shadi.